Well, 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 here we are. We knew this would happen. I and everybody who even remotely knew reality from fantasy knew Trump was going to be indicted as to the Mar-a-Lago documents, as to either obstruction of justice or some form of violation of the possession. Until you see, they say there might be 7 counts, until you read the actual indictment, we're just wasting our time just pretending. I want to tell you this so that you are able to go out into the world today and know a little bit more. First, when this happened last night, when this broke, the reaction was either theatrical or, I don't know if you saw, I was watching, I was skimming, and Mark Levin lost his mind, and I don't know, I guess you like that. Maybe I'm just, I don't know. You want to yell and okay. I mean, it's good. It's great theater, and Fox News needs all the help it can get. Believe me. It's so. I was hoping maybe Typhoid, the guy with a hat, would show up. That would be good. Or maybe Emily Campagna for that deep, But I don't know. Now, you want to talk like an adult? Good. Off the bat, the guy that I like, 2 people that I like a lot, in terms of their gravity, is Andrew McCarthy, and Turley. I like to look at this scholarly. I like to look at the X-ray, look at the pathology report, like a doctor would, and say, tell me what this means. What does this really mean? Stop the histrionics, stop the yelling and screaming. Yeah, we understand it. And don't act like you've never been a part of the system. As an aside, one time I was on a panel discussion on some show, I forget what it was, and believe it or not, the issue was, should there be electronic umpire, I guess, equipment or some type of electronic equipment to do balls and strikes so that there's no mistake? Should we wire baseball stadiums and diamonds and so that it's always a strike and it's always a this? And the answer was no, because that's the human part of it. But the human part of it's wrong. Is that yes, but that's a part of the game. That's the discretionary part. And the person I was with at the time had no idea of what I was talking about. Could not possibly understand. Well, because she just happened to come upon this topic and had no idea of what she was talking about. None. And because she had no idea of what she was talking about, and because she had no ability to speak, because she had no frame of reference at all as to anything, none. She had no frame of reference. She couldn't speak to it. And I wanted to say, why are you asking these questions? Why? The answer was because I look good, or because, I don't know, we're just filling the time. That's what media is, just fill the time. Can we get somebody on? To talk about this? I don't care whether you know anything or not. Can we get anybody on who is not going to say, because I love Trump and I think this is stupid? Can we just look at this? Can we get a physician to look at these reports and just tell me, is this a broken leg or not? Don't worry about whose broken leg it is. Is there anybody who is able to talk to us about the law part? And then we can talk about the political part. And then we can talk about the historical part. And then we can talk about the other kind of things. But would somebody just explain what happened? That's all. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Is there probable cause to charge Trump? Yeah. That's what the grand jury said. That's what an indictment is. Probable cause. Translation, he probably did it. Okay. So this happens. People act like, but do you mean they, okay, we'll get to the political part, but let's talk about the legal part of this thing first. Could Trump go to prison? If this was anybody else, the first thing you do is say, what are the charges? What would the guideline sentence be, assuming he were to plead? What would the probation office say? What are we looking at here? Any minimum mandatories? Just look at this. Because this is a case of first impression. A president? A president? So that's one thing. So the actual legal part of it is kind of cut and dry. There's really not a lot to it. Is there anything illegal that's happened here? No. No. Are they breaking any laws? No. No. So let's just talk about this. Anything at all? No. The next point, the next question, which I have and everybody has to ask, and this is one that you'll never see anybody asking, especially any of his acolytes or any of his friends. Why are we keeping these documents anyway? Does anybody know here? Does anybody know why? Does anybody know why? And I understand, yes, Joe Biden did the same thing. Yes, Hillary Clinton did the same thing. Yes, I understand that. Yes, 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 yes. If I hear bleach bit, the servers, one more time, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to lose my mind, okay? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of hearing the same story over and over. Yes, 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 you're right. Yes, please, we don't need whoever to come and say, but Joe Biden and his sons extorted $10 million. Yes, I understand this. Does this not, am I the only one who seems to care about this? Am I the only one maybe I'm just a different, I know this. I've been through this. This is a news show. I'm going to tune in so I guess people just want to hear what they want to hear. This is unfair. Yes. I'll talk about that in a moment. But this is just lame. I don't understand this. I don't get it. You're not going to remember this, maybe, depends how old you are, but during the O.J. Simpson case, people were really into procedure. I mean, they really wanted to know things about blood splatter, DNA, alleles, whether you collected the samples correctly, was O.J. I mean, really, people actually got into the process. Yeah, people were talking about, well, maybe there's his black or his race or whatever. I don't know. But it was really into the system. We don't do that anymore. Why? It's the same reason why we scream our heads on airplanes, because we lose our minds. We lose our minds. Okay? Now, here's a question I want to ask, second of all, or third, or whatever this number is. Why is Trump keeping documents at his home? Can anybody explain this to me? Can anybody please explain this to me? Just do me a favor. Can anybody imagine you worked at a new company and they say, listen, these people hate you. So if you're going to use that credit card on anything, I'm telling you, anything other than whatever, be careful because they hate you. I can do it. They like me. I went out and used the company credit card on clothes. I paid for my daughter's birthday party. They don't care about me. I'm just telling you this. Don't do it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, it's not fair. I do it, but you can't do it. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? They will tell you specifically, this is unfair. Don't talk about Hillary. Don't talk about Pence. Don't talk about anybody else. This doesn't matter. That is not going. And if you're brought into the accountant's office or whatever it is, and they say, did you pay, use your company credit card for, dry cleaning? And you're going to say, well, somebody else used it for his daughter's birthday party. That doesn't make any sense. In our world today, people say, well, but that's not fair. Let me try this again. That doesn't make any sense. Does Trump have any leadership whatsoever? Does he have any legal counsel? Does somebody say, sir, because he likes to be called sir, do me a favor. This is one of those process crimes. They love that. Lying. They love this. The lying. 18 U.S.C. 1001. Obstruction. Okay, I understand it. Mr. President, do you have any documents here at your home? Get rid of them. Mr. President, I'm going to be signing something right now. I'm your lawyer. I'm your custodian of the records, okay? I'm saying that you have 1,852 pages or whatever it is. If I turn this in, we're okay. If I turn this in, we're okay because I'm being given the chance. But if they come back in a search warrant and there's other stuff that we didn't sign off on, they're going to charge you, and maybe me, with either obstruction of justice or espionage or something which makes completely no sense. Do I make myself clear? Can I get the whole staff here? Yes. Excuse me? Yes. Is there any... This is our list. I got a better one. Can you promise me right now? I'm going to do it. Mr. President, yes. I have a team here. These are old ex-cops. We're going to go through Mar-a-Lago. Did you know that? Yeah. And they're going to try to find stuff. We're offering them $1,000 if you could find any documents here. This is before I submit this. Before I submit this document to the courts saying that there's nothing here, we've got an independent search. I've got the best. These are old narcs and cops, and we're going to give them $1,000 for every document they find. How about that? And they're really going to go look for this. Because believe me, when the FBI came into Mar-a-Lago, they weren't going behind paneling. Did you see? Supposedly, supposedly, as people say. It was on the floor. I don't understand this. Now, maybe you can talk to me. Maybe you can ask questions. Steve asked a good question. Did Trump pack the boxes? Doesn't care. It doesn't matter. What about Hillary? Don't bring up Hillary. Anybody? Does anybody have anything to say about this? Imagine you're his lawyer. What would you say? You would say, what the hell are you doing? They were going to get you on an emoluments clause violation. They impeached you twice. They would get you on tearing off pillowcase tags, which doesn't really make any sense. But the point is, do you understand this? They went after Ivanka's her trademarks and patents. Do we make ourselves clear? Mr. President, is there anything here? I don't understand this. And let me try this again. Let's assume Trump says, well, I didn't pack the boxes. Good. Let's do a run through. Everybody. And if anybody finds out we do it, I'll be more than happy to tell Jack Smith or anybody else. We were so thorough, we hired people to look for this a second time. That's how good we were. You understand this? You understand what's going on here? I don't understand it. This is one of those things where I don't understand it. It's like when somebody shows positive for PEDs and you're an athlete. I don't understand this. You knew the rules. What are you doing? What are you doing? Please tell me. What? I don't know. None of this makes any sense to me. Who is his legal team? Who are these people? What are they claiming? What's their defense going to be? What's the defense? That's what I want to know. Bad search? If you can throw the search out, there goes the evidence. That's the exclusionary rule. Don't have a case because it's all about the documents. All right, so is it bad? Do you want to go in and try to explain to a federal judge, they're not being fair? Hillary Clinton, don't talk about the bleach bit. You know who talks about that, right? That's all he knows is bleach bit. You know that, right? Bleach bit and the bleach bit and the son of a and the bleach bit. Okay, fine. Tell me what the defense is. What? Now, depending upon the way the indictment is read, words like willful. The guy I told you I like a lot is Andrew C. McCarthy. And it says that he was indicted on 7 felony counts. The indictment from Special Counsel Jack Smith from a grand jury in Miami, by the way. The most notable thing seen is charging Trump with an Espionage Act offense. Prosecutors are relying on a provision that criminalizes willful violations of the rules that government officials are required to follow in handling national defense intelligence. This seems like an obvious effort, he believes, to distinguish and to separate Trump's alleged crime from Biden's mishandling of classified documents, which the White House and the Democratic proxies have described as inadvertent, the result of sloppy but not willfulness. Now, this is the part that's interesting. He's also being charged with making false statements. And one theory the special counsel appears to be using or pressing is that Trump is responsible for a false, for a sworn affidavit or sworn statement by his lawyers that's false. And at the time, his lawyers expressed to the court, I guess through these documents, that a thorough search of Mar-a-Lago conducted, and that 38 documents bearing the seal or bearing the classification markings that were surrendered were the only ones in Trump's possession. 38 documents, that was it. And they said, no, there was more. And so they're going to get into this. And McCarthy, please, if you're interested, if you are so interested in this, and again, people are not, because they want to just go and just talk about how unfair this is. And it is unfair. It is unfair. To be sure, it is unfair. There's no doubt about that. But that's not gonna work. The fact that it's not fair. Year ago, of course, remember this? Sandy Berger did the thing with the stuff. We know this. Okay, that's interesting. It has no bearing. That's the question. How did you, so do you get around that? So does Trump, what? What does he do? What's his defense? Okay. The next thing which is important to note. Let's talk about what I would have done, what most people would have done as an attorney general if the attorney general really was legit. First and foremost, like men of honor used to be, when Webster and others stepped down, when they didn't like what Nixon was ordering them to do, firing Archibald Cox and all this kind of stuff, they said, no, we're not going to do that. I'm out of here. We're not going to subvert the process. Merrick Garland, had he a shred of cojones, of a backbone, of guts, of integrity, would have said, I've been doing this for a long. I've been a good boy. I was threatening parents who dared to speak out at schools. I actually did this. I actually sicked the FBI. We had people go in for right to lifers, and we even did this crazy thing where we did a ninja search warrant, a ninja arrest on Roger Stone at 4 a.m. Remember that? Where CNN was tipped off? You got that? You got that? I've done all that. I've been a good boy. I've been a good servant. But I am not going to go down in the history books. I am set for life. I'm tenured. I'm done. I got my pay. I don't need this. I can't look at anybody. I am not going to be responsible for indicting the Republican candidate, leading candidate in an election next year. I'm not going to do it. This is so banana republic. It's embarrassing. Well, Mr. Garland, General Garland, what do you suggest we do? Here's what we do. Rebuke, civil, injunctions, bring them in. We stretch this thing out. We create tribunals, and we have people come in, and they seek this, and they embarrass him all you want. File some kind of lawsuit in something civil, something nobody understands. A writ of Ipsy Dixit. Just make something up. Nobody's going to understand. Doesn't matter. But I'm not going to be a part of putting a president in prison. Well, I mean, seriously. And they talk about 100 years and everything. I mean, this is if every. I'm not going to do this. We are not going to do this. There is this thing called the Constitution. And let me tell you about these folks. These guys in Philly decided, what happens, and they asked the question, what happens if a president were to, on, let's say, national TV, before they had TV, were to decide to shoot his wife, kill her in front of everybody? I mean, and if he says, excuse me, kind of pulls a Bud Dwyer and says, hold it, before you go, I just want to see something. Bang. Now, would they be able to immediately arrest him and take him away? No. You'd have to impeach him first, then charge him. Why is that? Why do you think that is? Very simple. Because the drafters of the Constitution said, we know a little bit about this, and we want to make sure that the franchise, they were funny about those elections things. Funny about that. We want to make sure that somebody doesn't just say, okay, we'll just charge the president with something. We'll charge him with something and then get him up. We will subvert the will of the people by charging the president or whoever it is that we don't like. And they said, no. He's different. They were that careful. That's why Merrick Garland could say, using the spirit of the Constitution, using what it is that they believe or that our forebears believed, I am not going to do this. I am not going to be in history as the jadrul who, Alvin Bragg, that's chicken. We all know that. Oh, go ahead. That's a Mr. Maybe. There's no prison. There's no whatever. And by the way, if Joe Tacopina does as horrible a job on that case, and I hope the president, please, dear God, don't get him on this one. Please. No. You need, in fact, I don't know what kind of counsel, who would be available. I don't know who would be available. But Merrick Garland, I mean, he just so, a lot of people are saying, wow. MG, whoa, wow. I know the Weissmans and others they're on MS, and they're saying, well, this makes, nobody's above the law. I understand this. But no, there's a thing called discretion. And they say, no. The law is filled with discretion. Prosecutors are given discretion. Always. The same discretion that, now this is your angle, the same discretion that kept Joe Biden out of being charged, or his horrible, rancid, syphilitic son, morally syphilitic. That was discretion also. That was their choice. You can't force prosecutors to do things. You can't force them. Now let's talk about parole. This is moot. Donald Trump is not going to win. Donald Trump is not going to win. So, I mean, you know that. It just ain't going to happen. Either because he's not the nominee or because he doesn't get the vote. But he's not going to, so he's not going to be able to parole himself. But in the event, not parole, pardon himself. But in the event that he were to have won, it's really kind of unsure. We're unsure about this. Who is able to, whether he's able to pardon himself, and that's sort of the truth here. And the reason for that is very, very simple. The reason is simple. Again, the Office of Legal Counsel, which is the kind of like the president's lawyer, kind of, sort of, maybe weirdly, but they have and they offer opinions to the government. They said you can't do this, but I submit to you that there's nothing that says you can't. So it's worth a shot. But it's moot because he's not going to win. That's number one. Number two, if DeSantis wins, and he's not, he could do that as well. He could do that. He could do that. He could be the, and then just kiss any second term away. But that's all right. The person who probably today, I say right now as we speak, is going to be the president is Gavin Newsom. Oh, they're ready for this. Oh, they're ready for this. Are you kidding? Oh. And get ready. You want to see shenanigans? You want to see, and you may not even need to do it, but in the event, if you think you saw some wild stuff regarding Philadelphia boxes and votes and midnight, ooh. Not only that, you're in a system where nobody dares bring it up. Sidney Powell, nothing. What was that? Did you say Kraken? I didn't say Kraken. No way. No. Ask Carrie Lake. How good did that work? Nope. I mean, you can forget that. So, this pardon business is moot. Now, if Bobby Kennedy, that's a different story. Because Bobby Kennedy's from another planet. He's getting better and better and better and better. And he was talking about geoengineering with Dane Wigington. I couldn't believe that. I mean, I said you I'd go crazy. Let me just say something right now. And let me just say this. If the subject matter comes up of Building 7 with Bobby Kennedy, you're going to have to sedate me. I will have thought, I am in a parallel universe. This doesn't exist right now. I am not. He's talked about everything from biolabs to the windshield of the JFK assassination car. I mean, so that's over here. So Bobby Kennedy, it's a different story. But this is a day that makes me absolutely embarrassed and disgusted about my government. I despise the government. Not the country, not America. I don't, it's not America. We didn't have anything to do with this. Nobody asked us anything. No, it's a group of people who figure we're going to do things our way. We're going to do things our way. And there's nothing you can do about it. How do you like them apples? There's nothing you can do about it. And believe it or not, nobody cares about this. I know you're going to say this. Wait a minute, what? Believe me when I say this. Nobody cares about this. Trump has been, they got him in New York. And then the E. Jean Carroll case, which was stupid. Joe Tacopina never had him testify. It was a civil case. If I were Trump, I would say, I don't know who this woman is. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me explain to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I don't know who she is. I don't care what she says. Why didn't you do that? I don't know. Makes you wonder, though, doesn't it? And also, this is a different story. And now you're hearing a lot of people say, if you watch, go back and watch all of the, and I didn't, so I can't say that, but I'm imagining if you probably watch all of the usual suspects on Fox News, they're not arguing against the legality. They're just saying it's improper. And I would agree with that. The discretion of this is horrible. You don't do this. You don't do this. It's like, for example, let's assume a young girl, a minor, is repeatedly sexually abused and held captive. And she, in order to escape, shoots and kills her captor, the man who's been abusing her viciously for months and months at a time. And she gets away. Can the prosecutor charge you with murder? Yeah. Is it improper? Yeah. It's like that. That's the discretion we're talking about. It's not that it's improper, but the discretion. The prosecutor knows no discretion. Let me see if I can explain this to you. And I know a lot of folks are interested in kind of not really getting into this because, well, nobody really wants to talk about this. Because it's still kind of, people really don't understand how bad it is. They don't understand. I mean, they say they do. You know, there's like this, there's just, the professionals out there, the professional screamers and yellers and, that kind of stuff. And believe me, I know wrestling. I know the work. I know what it is. But this is the worst that anybody's ever seen. This is the worst. This is the worst. By the way, if you're not subscribed to my channel, if you're not yet, and if you're not liking this video, and if you're not supporting our voice that cuts through this is all nonsense. I don't know what. It's nonsense. Because what we're able to do is to separate things. Let's talk about Trump, the candidate, the Trump legacy, Trump, the defendant, Trump, the man. Let's talk about America, the country, America, the government, America under the Biden administration. There are levels to things. It's not one size fits all. And nobody really wants to distinguish this. Nobody wants to distinguish all of these different versions of this. I am telling you, and I want you to listen to me. Most people, and so that you understand it, don't understand this, don't get it, and really don't care. They really don't care. They pretend they care. It's performance, yelling and screaming. It's theater. It's synchronized. It's, let me see how, I don't know what it was. YouTube especially. Again, I've got to tell you, there is just without mentioning names, there is a very popular video that people are loving that's discussing the boreal fires, and it says nothing. It's just, this is insane. What is this? Look at this. And people say, this is great. I'm thinking, he's not saying anything. What do you mean? He's not saying anything. And this could it be energy? I don't know. Could it be tectonic heat? I don't know. This is insane. And I'm getting people say, have you seen this video? He doesn't say anything, but it just sounds good. Go back and read the transcript. Oh, you're right. He never said anything. No. And there's no proof of anything. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, whatever. I guess, maybe, sort of, maybe, I don't know. It's not just YouTube, but YouTube and Rumble and this and that and all that. There's this kind of I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain this. Nobody really understands the issue here. We live in this world of screaming and yelling. I know people who were the other day calling for the just loving the fact that Chris Licht was fired from CNN, and they don't understand why. What am I so excited about? What am I doing here? It's CNN. Oh, okay. But I don't know Chris Licht. It doesn't matter. And then the CNN crowd are loving the fact that Twitter, Tucker is his numbers. Yeah, screw you, Fox News. This is where we are today. Synchronized kind of spectator sport. Karens hate. You hate Trump. You hate Biden. You hate this. But why? Well, and it's incoherent. And what's interesting now is very much, and in a very weird way, I'm also watching, not live, I can't do it live, but I was noticing some YouTubes of Fox News after the fact. And you know what? They're losing. Have you noticed this? They're just losing that. It's like when a restaurant loses stuff like, this used to be better. There's something wrong with this. Did you get a new chef? Yeah, this is not the same thing. See, we live in a world, our ecosystem here, we live in a world where we get excited over stuff that's nothing. For example, Tucker Carlson, over 10 million people saw his thing. Okay, good. That's great. Do you want me to show you some other videos? Have you ever gone to YouTube and said, most watched? Is that guy, what's his name? What's that fellow's name who had all the famous YouTuber with all the numbers? Oh, God. Anyway, this fellow. Yeah, Cutie Pie, Pootie Pie, or whatever. Huh? Pootie Pie or something. Anyway, I don't understand it. Gamers who were, wow. So, okay, fine. You see, you got to put things into perspective. You got to be able to take something and say, okay, what does this mean? Let me weigh this. Let me weigh it in terms of how important it is. And nobody really wants to do this. You see, what I want to do is my version of this is boring. Because I have this thing about being an adult. You want to joke? Let's joke. Let's have fun. But please, if you're going to talk about the president, the former president being indicted, can we at least stick to the subject? No. Can we talk about this? No. I'm going to talk about Hillary Clinton. Let Hillary Clinton go. That's all I know. That's my thing. Now, here's the best part. Most people don't know about and don't care about Trump. They don't like him. They don't dislike him. They don't care. We are a unique group of people. Do you understand this? Do you understand this? We live in a world where we are so focused on this, just like people in NASCAR, people who love country music, people who love I knew somebody years ago who was involved in barbershop quartets. They had barbershop quartet magazines. The Sweet Adelines, the this, the that, the cruises. You would think, I never knew there were this many people. It's the biggest industry you can imagine. And in their world, that's all they knew. In their fishbowl, it was that. And in your fishbowl, you live in this Trump. You love Trump. You love him. You've never asked yourself, can he be president again? Is he going to be effective? I don't care. I love him. Oh, I know you love him. But is he effective today? What do you keep asking him whether he's effective or not? I love him. I love him. I love telling people I love Trump. I got my MAGA hat. Don't you understand? That's it. I have so many friends of mine say, do you understand this? Excuse me. This is the weirdest thing too. Have you ever had somebody, and I know this in terms of professional negligence and malpractice, people have stuck with doctors who are incompetent because they like the doctor. He has been with our family forever, and we love him, and we stick with him, and he's our, but he's incompetent. Well, it doesn't matter. Old Doc Witherington is a great man, and he delivered your sister. Okay, fine, but he's 82 years old. Doesn't matter. We love him. How many times have you heard that? We're weird about that. We just, I'm an old Cleveland Browns fan, and I always have been, and I don't know, call me crazy, but I love a good hoedown, and you got to get down with the hose. People are just weird with their politics. I'm not one of these people. I don't like Trump. There's a lot to like. I think as a politician, he showed extreme brilliance. But that is over with. I'm talking about my country. I want somebody to run my country. He ain't the guy. And I don't know how to tell you that. But if you think we're going to go through 4 more years of that, count me out. Sorry. That might have been there, but they're showing you this guy won't be able to tie his shoes without something that's happening. And they love it. This is the night of 1,000 cuts, whatever. This is just incredible. So get it through your head. This is a new day. 2024 is going to be better. It's got to be better. And right now, DeSantis is looking better. He's thoroughly enjoying this. He's got to watch what he says. It's got to be measured with what he says. There's a lot of good people out there. Vivek Ramaswamy says some good things now and then, but this is a very easy thing to say. If you're a Republican and you can't figure out what to say, if you can't talk about prosecutorial discretion and the loss of due process, then you don't deserve to be anywhere near the office. Now, this is going to be tough, but you're going to have to be an adult here. You're going to ask yourself a question. I've made my mind up 2024 is going to be, to me, it's going to be, I will have no say in this. There's nobody there that I'm going to vote for. I'm going to write in Bobby Kennedy Jr. Even if he steps down, I'm going to write in that name. Because this is for the first time in, well, maybe forever, who's talked about things in a completely, not a bipartisan way, but irrespective of party, who talks about war, who talks about imperialism, who talks about what considered to be conspiracy. Oh, you're going to love this. To show you how people don't understand the term conspiracy theory, I got to show you this. I'm going to read this exactly as it appears. This is on my Twitter, at Lionel. By the way, poor James Woods. He's trying so hard to figure out what the hell to do. He doesn't know what to do. Anyway, listen to this. Jamie Foxx, page 6. This is this headline. Jamie Foxx's rep responds to conspiracy that COVID-19 vaccine caused hospitalization. Okay. And I wrote, attention New York Post. Believing that Jamie Foxx suffered from a vaccine-related injury is not a conspiracy. Conspiracies involve illegal or improper confederation, agreements. Who writes your headlines? A child? Conspiracy is not a substitute for crazy. This is where we are today. This is where we are today. This is where we are today. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Nobody knows what they're having. Nobody knows what. The other day, I did on my private channel at Lionel Media, I talked about something which was the most important thing there was, one of the best subjects. And nobody wants to really talk about these things, but I do. In fact, they even made fun of Bobby Kennedy, and he was spot on. But it goes something like this. Do you remember there was a time, there was something called, let me give you an example. It was called, hang on a second, Event 201 or 201. Do you remember that? Do you remember what that was? Remember the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security? And this was in January 2019, Tom Inglesby became the first person to announce the formation of Event 201 in partnership with the Gates Foundation and the World Economic Forum. Remember that? This was in 2019. And you didn't know who these people were. You didn't really know. I mean, you knew who Gates was. But remember that? You remember? No. Maybe. Anyway, it happened to, interestingly enough, if you believe the story, as was being said, but it happened to presage exactly what many people consider to be the events as coordinated. Now, there are always, as you know, there are means by which people can do kind of like dry runs, and people have done battle plans for in case let's say there's a locust attack, or let's say there's an EMP attack, or let's say there's a food, whatever it is. Nobody that you see on the dais is going to talk anything about that. Nobody. I realize that these people they have nothing in common with me. Nothing. And that's why I think I'm just permanently just done with any kind of pretend involvement. I'm going to be writing, maybe at the local level. I mentioned this before to you. There's two things. I talked to somebody the other day, and this never ceases to amaze me. I get scared about this, but because people don't really, they don't, how do I say this? They don't really pay a lot of attention to what's going on. So I put this piece up there. There's something called preparewithlionel.com, okay? And I talked about this thing about emergency food. And I've asked people before, and I've said, what are you going to do regarding the day when you have access to, or need access to, 90 days worth of food? Not even a week, you don't know. And they look at me and that won't happen. The other day, our skies were orange because fires that miraculously started instantaneously in Canada. And you're going to tell me, this is where I just don't fit in. Bobby Kennedy would say, I agree with you 100%. Thank you. Here's something for you. There was a video somebody had the other day. There are all these how do I say that? There's all these ex-CIA videos. Well, I was a Navy SEAL. Well, I was a Delta Force. Well, I was at CIA. Well, I was one of the 3,000 people who was responsible for actually taking bin Laden out. Okay. And the question was an electromagnetic pulse attack, an EMP attack. And it was the subject matter. So anyway, I haven't talked about them in a while, but one of our sponsors, EMP Shield, I put the link right there. So I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, do you understand this? He said, that's crazy. And I said, where did I go? What happened to me? Why is it? I'm not a paranoid person in the least. Where is it that I respond to things differently than others do? How is it that somebody that I can't say there is going to be a major food disaster? We had how many cows? If you're a carnivore, great. Hundreds of, I don't know how many cows were just killed. And you've got the largest farmer, perhaps these days, Bill Gates, things being sold to China. I mean, what do I have to do? Can you not see what's happening next? Then we had a balloon that flew over a number of times over the country, a white balloon, that was China. And it was said, almost guaranteed, this would be the perfect platform for launching an EMP pulse, an electromagnetic pulse, a Carrington event pulse that fries everything. And people look at me, that's because they love to just dismiss it. You see the guy Shermer, whatever, he's the skeptic. His whole world is, That's their whole world. That's it. I haven't even told you about water yet. Hydro, I've been talking about that forever. We live in this kind of this infantile world. And yesterday, when they should have broken through every TV show and said, don't go outside without a mask. But the people that I know, I don't want to say anti-vaxxers, but all the mRNA experts. You're not going to believe them. I know people, they're experts in this. Experts. Just like the same ones who are experts in blood splatter evidence during OJ. They're experts in the Constitution. They're experts in everything. The Constitution, history, law, medicine. And The same ones who say, these people who wear a mask in their car. Yes, I understand wearing a mask in your car by yourself is stupid if you think you're going to get some kind of a virus. But there is particulate matter in there. This is, I'm reading things where this could cause organ damage. What are you doing? This is different. This is what a mask is for. You idiot. You idiot. You idiot. You prototypical right-wing conservative idiot. You are the reason why this particular group is loathed. You're a fool. You don't get it. If you spent more time thinking about what's going on in the future than getting a new tat to completely just deface every square inch of dermal real estate, if you stopped pretending and thinking that wearing a MAGA hat and having a flag on your lapel, this somehow elevates you into some status. Oh, we talk about the left all the time, but they got these phonies. Everybody's, well, guns. It's like, you just love to talk stuff. But when it's really important, it's really critical, you don't understand the first thing about it. You don't understand the first thing about any of this. That's my favorite. I love people who worry they're experts on mRNA and they have an LDL cholesterol of 800. I don't understand this. I don't understand. They go after the most arcane stuff and say, you idiot. Look at your kids. You're a bunch of obese, waddling Neanderthals. What is the matter with you? What are you doing? What are you doing? You don't know anything. You don't read anything. Your whole world is Fox News or I don't know what. I'm not even sure what it is. Oh, these people. Oh, I'm telling you. And I don't know who's worse. The left. I don't even know who the left is. And by the way, can I just say something about the left, if you don't mind? Like I'm asking you. Do you know most people, most Democrats think, I'm not signing into this boycott. I don't believe that men and women are the same. I don't, that's not me. Well, why aren't you saying anything? I don't say anything about anything, as long as it's not Trump. I'm just happy Trump got indicted. That's all they are. I live in a world of fools. And there's this really tiny percentage of people that I think that's the one I agree with. They're just de minimis. Bobby Kennedy is that person. Now, we may not agree with everything. I don't know what to tell you. I heard somebody today, I'm not going to mention his name because I kind of like him and he'll get upset. Talk about Russia and Ukraine. I don't know what planet he's been on. I don't know. He doesn't understand any of this. Nothing. Because the simple, and remember what I'm telling you, start off with this. Take all of your pins off. Take them off. Take your hat off. Take your DNC. Take your bumper stickers off your car. Just stop saying this and think. Start from scratch. That's all. And ask yourself, what is it that you believe? What is it that you think is rational? And find it. Don't figure which group should I be a part of. No, you have to figure out, what do you believe in? Don't look for well, I don't know. I think I might be making a switch to Newsmax. Why? What does that have to do with it? I don't know. Because today, political parties are TV networks. The United States is divided up into CNN and Fox. And both sides hate each other. They have no idea what's going on. No idea. None. They're this last vestige of this cable news platform that is so anachronistic it's not even funny. Okay? So that's that. But most people don't get it. They just love the theater. And watch Mark Levin. I mean, seriously. Listen, I love a work like anybody else. This one's going to be, did you watch it? And I can see it now. That was great. He thrashed, shredded, blasted. What's the other word? They just want performance. And the real question that somebody should be asking is that, why do you have any documents at your home? They told you what they wanted you to do. You knew you were a target. You knew this. You knew you were a target from in 2015 when you came down. It was the other day, I think, when you came down that escalator. That's it. You knew it. They went after Carter Pay. They went after you. Tell me what? Tell me. You'll never hear that. Never. You'll hear the same story. But Hillary Clinton had her thing. George Len says the tyranny thrives on individuals with zero self-respect. They become even more emboldened. I think you're correct. I think to an extent that's correct, George. By the way, hand crepitation to you. The tyranny, and here's the best part. Now understand this and see if you can follow this one, George, and I'm sure you'll get this. To my friends who are of the who hate Trump, I'm going to tell them, and I don't want to give you the old line about, and when they came for me, no one said anything. And when they came for you, and then they came for me, and whatever that phrase was. And it's true, but the shadow government could not care less, does not like Biden, doesn't care for Biden, doesn't need Biden. Biden's a crook. Biden is a crook. You see, in the world of organized crime, I'm sorry to say this, you've got gangsters, you've got racketeers. But a gangster is really like, oh, okay. A real gangster, somebody who really, an outlaw, a professional outlaw. But racketeer is kind of interesting. It's different, but a gangster is the ultimate. It's like in wrestling, the ultimate is a worker. This is a gangster. And then moving down the list, down the line, you've got people like thugs, thieves, things like that. And then you move down, and at the very base is just a crook. It's just an opportunistic guy who's there, not a part of anything, not a part of a group, not a part, just in it for himself. Nickel and dime, the one who looks for change between seats, and that's Biden. He's the lowest form of the shadow government. Has nothing to do with him. The only thing they like about him is that he's able to get their programs through. They take a drooling, monosyllabic, cretinous, bewildered, old coot, this wizened, hobbled by decrepitude, this pathetic man, and his horrible, rancid, putrescent, vile son, who has. Does this man have the largest collection with drug-addled prostitutes of anyone you've ever seen? Imagine Don Jr. And how I understand that, okay, listen, he's a bad guy. But I've never known such a soulless, vile person such as Hunter. Sean says, McCarthy should start impeachment hearings, make things interesting. That should have been day one, Sean. And by the way, thank you for that. If Joe Biden has not committed high crimes and misdemeanors or treason, bribery, nobody does. Marjorie Taylor Greene put that in, but the Republicans have no soul, no direction, and no unity. Democrats do. Sean, it's over. This is babyface and heel. This is an angle. This is a work. Two drunks holding each other up, trying to walk down the street. Both people needing each other as controlled opposition. It's a joke. It's not that we have a uniparty. Oh, God, I heard somebody say the word uniparty yesterday. Every other word. This 90-year-old term from the days of Wendell Willkie. All of a sudden, it's a uniparty. Why? Because Tucker said it. Oh. And Tucker is great with no obviousness. There's a word. It starts with no, and it means no kidding. No, it's like nothing that you don't know. And as far as we're concerned, the Nord Stream 2 was demolished by Ukrainian agents with U.S. help. Thank you, Tucker. The world has been talking about this months ago. But thank you for clarifying it from your cedar-lined manse or your redoubt in Maine or wherever it is. Thank you for that. Thank you for pointing out this. Thank you for telling us that the information platforms are corrupted. Thank you, because we didn't know this because we're stupid. And people are so, I guess, so starved for anything like this, they go crazy. I'm not going to mention the names because, as far as I know, probably violate something. But there is stuff openly available on the internet that I speak about in my, I hate to say it, in my private channel because it's the only way I can do it, at Lionel Media, where I can say, go here, read this. Citizen, civilian, alternative, and foreign. If you want to see what's going on in this country, look to foreign media. They hold a different light on you better. Let somebody look at your family and tell you, you know what I see? That's why people go to therapy and family counselors, so they can say, let me tell you what I see here. Because we're living in a dream world. It is incredible. The information that is out there blows your mind. Blows your mind. Because in this, our little fishbowl that most people live in, doesn't cover any of this stuff. It's very simple, very, very, put it this way, most, serialized TV shows are more complicated than the news. And let me just tell you something. If you're watching cable news, if that's what you're watching, then you're like getting the version of reality like you was sitting in a Jiffy Lube service bay. You know, when you get your car, you sit and you talk to somebody because you're bored. And, you got to, you can go home, but you got to turn around and come back. So you're just talking to some people and you're yammering and somebody's got a TV show on. That's the level. It's very, whatever it is. And it tries to create the fact, because let me tell you something, cable news is dying. The model is dead. It's over. They're going to make some money. Listen, they're making money at state carnivals. Do you ever see all of a sudden they go, hey, there's a carnival. All of a sudden in the Meadowlands. I love to just go. I don't like it. I love the smell of carnivals. I like the people. I love the degenerates. I love the carnies. We still have those. There's always going to be a carnival. There's always going to be a state fair. There's always going to be a roadside stand. There's always going to be a lemonade stand. You know what I mean? There's always going to be these vestiges, and there will always be something on cable. By the way, one thing before you forget, and this is my unsolicited advice to CNN, which is they've got to go full-blown woke, trans anchors, trans presenters, fully trans, gender fluid, absolutely. CNN, do it. Do it now. Zaslav, if you're listening to me, do it. If I told you, did you hear about what? Yeah. At the noon on CNN, they have a trans anchor. No. Click. The whole world will watch this. The numbers will go through the roof. And just as they bring another one in. Yay! And then bring one in about your CRT, critical race theory reporter. Hey! And people say, this is terrible. And you'll watch it. Full woke. 100%. Go for it. Believe me. If they do it, you know you heard it here. Because that's what it is. It's a joke. It's professional wrestling. You've got to find a hook. You've got to find the angle. What's the storyline? What is it about? And look at how, by the way, and I want you to notice this. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But because I love to just see if I can figure. Fox News lost a little bit of its fire. It lost its bearing. It lost its oomph. It lost its... It just doesn't seem to be this bickering with, you had one of your own, and then Tucker goes on his own, and they're claiming that he violated the non-compete, by virtue of having Twitter, but is Twitter really the same as cable? And it just seems so, it just, No. And then, by the way, one more thing about CNN I got to tell you. Chris Licht actually told a news magazine, hey, follow me around for a year. Yeah. What? Whoa. Never. Sparky says, funny, I tell my soap fan sister-in-law that if she can follow the drama complexity of a soap opera, she can follow the complexity of politics. You know what's funny you say that, Sparky, by the way, thank you. Are there still soap operas?
Yes.
What are they?
Just a couple. You have Bold and the Beautiful, you have General Hospital.
Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital. Sparky, I'm glad you're saying that. I used to watch years ago Another World, Young and the Restless. I remember Edge of Night, As the World Turns. They were wonderful. And you're right about that. And I used to always say, because half of the battle in terms of trial work is being able to follow the facts. And if you can follow the facts of these things, if you want to do something, do yourself a favor, just trust me on this. Go back and look at any of the original Peyton Place episodes in black and white with Ryan O'Neal and Lee Taylor Young and what was her name? The one with the Peyton Place. What was that woman? She had the... Yeah, well, there was Ryan O'Neal, Lee Taylor Young, right? Oh, Mia Farrow. Go back and watch that. You will not believe the subject matter. And also, Dynasty. The original Dynasty is so politically incorrect, you can't believe what that was. You will not believe. It was so racy. Incredible. Did I say racy? I sure did. All right, friends. Sparky, you're good. You're very good, and I thank you for that. Sean Martin, thank you. George Lenz, thank you. Don't forget, like this video. We only have 223 likes right now. We need your likes. We need your likes. They are critical. We need you to support our channel, to support our effort, to subscribe and tell people, young people who are saying, watch this guy, watch him. Because I'm not going to Falcon Crest. Falcon Crest. Was that was kind of a knockoff. You understand that? I think so. Valley of the Dolls. Mrs. L loved the Valley of the Dolls. That is so cheesy. It's still great. Those were, Dallas was pretty doggone good too. The night they shot JR, I remember one time, the day that John Dixon and Stenbeck, when Stenbeck, whatever, was going to kill John Dixon. I was working in a senator's office at the time. We locked everything down, had a TV, and watched it. And it's when John Dixon, Larry Brigman, whatever I think played the actor, one of the greatest moments ever. When he was pretending to be blind, and Stenbeck, whose name was Herrera, was like a Mexican, but he plays a guy, Victor Stenbeck or something, some Swede. And as he's about to kill him, John Dixon all of a sudden looks up and says, "Gotcha." And he realizes he could see the whole time. It's one of the greatest moments ever. This is when they cared. Today, it's nonsense. It's nonsense. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Remember, the Constitution, this is the rule book. But it really allows for a lot of nasty stuff if there's no discretion. We love you. Have a great and glorious day. Please follow Mrs. L. Brand new video from Lynn's Warriors. Brand new video on YouTube. Sign up right away. Go to Lynn's Warriors right after this. And also follow her on Twitter at Lynn's Warriors as well. And I'm at Lionel Media on Twitter. See you tonight, 7 p.m. Until then, remember. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.